Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 235, which means that we are exactly 235 days in the making. And if I count it well, it's 47 working weeks if you divide 235 by 5. So, quite a nice milestone, sort of. And it was a very interesting day, I would say, because it started quite early. That's why I called the blog post, I titled it Morning Routine. And morning routine is a fascinating topic, especially that plenty of people talk about it, ask for it. There are books written about it, and two main ones that I can come up with from the top of my head is that I read or listened to was definitely a famous 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, which didn't stick too much, although it was still interesting, story-like attempt to help people get motivated and structure their life in one way or another. But 5 a.m. Club is type of the write-up that a little bit assumes that anyone can be a 5 a.m. person. And technically, yes, but we are individuals, we have different requirements, and biology created us slightly differently than others, so it's always debatable in between people being either morning people or more of the evening or night owls or things like that. But a lot of research was conducted in those terms, and we at least are able to align the fact that there are people that prefer or are more active and more creative or more productive in the nighttime or evening time or afternoon time rather than morning. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, there are people that are really efficient and effective and wake up very early. So there is certain alignment that reaches as far as our early tribes of humanoids, where there was necessity for groups of people to be in one way protected from the animals or other tribes when they are the most vulnerable. And when are we the most vulnerable? Obviously, when we sleep. So it seems like it was natural long time ago. We talk about tens of thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years, whenever the first human-like creatures started forming tribes, that in order to be able to sleep at all and not be attacked by any predators, be it humans or human tribe or humanoid tribes or animals, we needed to be protected. And in the sleep state, we cannot protect ourselves. That's a fact. If you fall into proper sleep process, there is actually biological process that disables you pretty much completely physically in a certain state of the sleep. So if you are in the deep sleep and REM sleep, as far as I remember, in those two states, especially in the deep sleep, we are pretty much turned off in terms of physical processes. So it's very hard to wake up and protect yourself. So getting back to the morning people and night owls, the night owls were people that were protecting the part of tribe that were morning people and were doing the work during the day. And they needed to sleep at night. So there was definitely biological preference of some of the members of the tribes that were more efficient, energetic, and did not fall asleep in the later hours of the day. So they were perfect guardians and protectors in the late hours up until the morning, where the actual morning people woke up and could take over the village or the settlement. And then obviously the others that were guarding or hunting or protecting at nighttime, they could rest and recover during the day. And obviously it's not just night and day. They were different overlapping hours, probably in the evening or in the middle of the day, but that's the general concept of people being more efficient in different times of day and preferring to wake up a little bit later or earlier, and then going to sleep earlier or later is an actual evolution side that we share with our grandparents, grandparents, and grandparents, or ancestors. So in history of the humanity, we have those traits of different kind, and that's what makes us individual. And that's why I don't think that 5 a.m. is for everyone, despite the fact that the book tries to convince you that you can turn into 5 a.m. person. You probably can. It's all about probably building a routine. Obviously, you need to adjust your organism to that type of early wake up. If you're more of a night person, then that means a lot of changes, gradual changes, before you can fully adjust to waking up early. Obviously, you need to start going to sleep early. Get used to a day being shorter in the later hours and shifting your workload or tasks to the morning hours. And obviously, this before your body adjusts and your brain adjusts to those new hours, that will be probably difficult. So this is an interesting concept, but I think that not many people would be liking to adjust that much. So 5 a.m. is for a certain group of people, 5 a.m. club for others. It doesn't work, like for me. And it's not that I don't like wake up in the morning. Sometimes when I have a great night's sleep and it's kind of summertime or springtime like now, I very often wake up quite early. Sometimes it's 4, 5 a.m., maybe 6, and I feel completely recovered, rested, and I'm ready to jump and do something. But most of the times, I like the coziness and comfort of the bed up until the time where I have to wake up, or like be it for work or something else. So why I called it today's post and episode morning routine, mainly because this was the morning that I woke up earlier. And no, it wasn't as early as 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. It was actually 7 a.m. that I woke up, I turned the alarm off, and I was surprised to see that my wife is not even getting up. It turned out that she didn't feel rested enough, surprisingly. We blamed it on the change of weather and the pressure, because the weather slightly changed, slightly cooled down. It's going back to the high teens in terms of temperatures in Celsius, so it should be around, I think, 18, 19 degrees Celsius, so a decent temperature, probably unbearable for us as we adjusted to cooler time of the year. It will be hard to sleep, especially when the nights will be a little bit warmer, but time will tell. And we woke up, we had a chat. Julian obviously was completely into sleep, and after about half an hour my wife woke up, so she was on her feet around 6:30, and she kept asking me if I'm going for a run. And obviously you don't need to ask me to go for a run too long, but there was a little battle in my head that, oh, that coziness of the bed, I could still stay in bed. But then I wanted to go with her and have a run, because I saw that the weather was cool but nice, and there was a little bit of sun shining. It was wet because I believe that it was raining in the morning, very early hours of the morning, so I knew that the air will be fresh and great, but I didn't feel like the run is, or the actual, my state of the body and mind is, I would say, optimal for run. I didn't feel sick or anything like that, but I sensed that a little bit. My blood pressure might be a little bit higher, and I might be not hydrated enough in the last couple of days. So, but regardless of that, we decided to go for a run, and we did the full circle around Donegal town, which is approximately 6 kilometers plus. But obviously we did warm up by walking, then we started running. There was a little bit of drizzle along the way, but nothing, I would say, of concern. A little bit windy, but bearable. And about halfway in town, my wife said that, listen, if you want to go faster, with the faster pace, go ahead. I'll just keep my pace. And I didn't want to really go faster, but because it was just tight in terms of time before Julian had to be dropped to school, and I still was to make him a breakfast, I decided to speed up and leave her a little bit behind with her pace, and started getting faster, and did that last 3 kilometers with a bit higher pace. And it felt, later on, the whole day I was a bit drained of energy, and so my wife. So there was definitely something about this morning that we kind of forced the run. It was still great because, despite that, I would say, uncomfortable feeling after the run, still get that activity and a decent distance outside, especially in the morning. the air is fresh, very beneficial for the body, and the smells, of the spring slash summertime, everything blooming. It's just lovely. So yeah, that was a great beginning, and then obviously I jumped straight to work. It was quite busy today, a lot of meetings, a lot of updates, a lot of pressure, but tomorrow is a very light touch day from the work perspective, because we have in company single days during the year where they allow us to go off outside of the normal annual leave or holidays. They call them wellness days, so we can take care of ourselves and the family a couple of times a year, which is great because this is like a paid time off. Obviously, there are certain people that need to stay online and protect the infrastructure, but then they can use that day in lieu and add it to the holidays, for example, formal holidays. So it's not that bad. It fits people very well. It's well received. I think it's a third year going since the COVID. These days were added, and we keep going with them, and company and obviously employees like them. So it's a nice thing to have on top of the regular holidays. So yeah, Friday will be focused on a lot of cleaning, chores, because we are preparing the house for arrival of my mother-in-law. She's a great woman. Julian loves her as well, and my wife is happy that her mother is coming in. So we will be having a guest for probably about 16, 17 days, which is lovely. And I'm happy to see her and facilitate her arrival, because, we don't have much time on this earth, and especially if we think about our parents, they obviously are much older than us. So if we don't have much time, likely, even with the best case scenario, then they have much shorter. So it's nice to see them, nice to enjoy them, within reason, obviously. And it's probably maybe last time that she will be coming alone. Maybe second last, because she's at that age that, well, she's not granny, but she doesn't like flying too much. So I expect that it might be one of the last times where she visits us, and it will be later on more us visiting parents-in-law rather than the other way. Yeah, and once she flies back to Poland, we'll have probably about 3 weeks, just shy of 3 weeks of rest. And my mother comes in with my brother, so it will be another week of joyful ride with the family. But that will be it. So we need to plan well and prep for it. So this is tomorrow. And obviously Saturday we are going to Dublin to pick up my mother-in-law. So it will be a stormy day, as I call them, because I suspect it will be very hard to facilitate again the blog writing and recording. So I need to think about our schedule and see how can I fit that recording properly to not allow for any slippage. And why I tell about the slippage, because some of you readers or listeners know that I committed to doing or writing and publishing the blog before 8 p.m. And this is going well. But today I was on the verge of crossing that line and managed to publish the post, I believe, 2 or 3 minutes before the deadline. So that was very, very close. And I'm not happy about it. Well, I'm happy that I still managed to do that before 8 p.m., but it was pretty much about 8 p.m. So I need to pull back a little and make sure that tomorrow it's earlier. Yeah, I plan to record this episode with Julian, aka Cross Gamer, but it's a bit late and we need to he needs to get to bed before school tomorrow, so maybe tomorrow we'll record a guest episode with Julian. So fingers crossed, we might have a nice chat and talk about different things than I usually talk about. I'll be wrapping up. It's already almost 22 minutes. So as usual, thank you very much for spending those over 20 minutes with me. It's a pleasure to have you here and know that you listen to that podcast. And there is a couple of interesting things coming. There are still ideas, so I don't know about their execution and how good it will be and how fast. But I will be slowly dripping news in the blog and the next episodes of the podcast. So once again, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you very much and hope you'll stay with me and help me build this beautiful thing called Blunt Force Healing. And I hope you are at least planning or considering building the same thing, or you are in the process of building or starting it. Then let me know, obviously, on any of the channels, and I'll make sure that you are mentioned on any channel possible to help you grow and get that visibility as much as I can. All right, guys, stay tuned and talk to you tomorrow.